I come here from a faraway place. I come from the other world. And I do come with the greetings of the Afar. So, salam alaikum to you all, which is, may the peace of God be with you. And indeed, each of the Afar would love to be standing here, not me. They bring their greetings because they know quite a few of you. One of your students has spent time and lived with us, believe it or not, so it's all possible. My family's done that, many people have done that, and we've got people there right now. Now, this other world, I hope I can help you in Radford to look out at the rest of the Australian population. These are the people I'm worried about. I'm not worried about you guys. That we get a better bridge before it's too late between our two worlds. The too late is coming very, very fast. This is where I live, and I hope you're now geographically okay, on that nasty piece of water, the Red Sea, which is so close to the Middle East, and that is why we are strategically wanted, not for people, but for land. And so hence, the governments of many countries already have their military bases nicely. In Djibouti, there are 6 international military bases there. They've tried to get them along the Red Sea. The Eritrean president is not collaborating, but the Americans send their drones into Somalia from Ethiopia. So we're in a very interesting part of the world. Where's that down here? Here. Thought I had it all, didn't I? Go, man. No? Come on. Go this way. Yes. Okay, go back again. We live in this sort of arid land, and that's why they're not interested in the people or the land as productive farming or something. It can't be farmed. It's a total desert, hottest inhabited place on earth. And, oh, sorry, wrong way. I've had the privilege, and might I say, I am more privileged than any single person in this room. I have 4 very dear relatives sitting up there, and I think I'm better off than each and every one of them. Better off. And I hope by the end of my little short time, you can agree with me. I live with these people, having married my husband in 1989. I've lived there 24 years, thrown in the deep end with no rescue line, so I share the life of these people, and if they drink the dirty water, that's mine also. So whatever is going on is part of me. Now, why is that so good? It's excellent, because that is what the majority of the world is doing. The majority of the world is not living like Canberra and not living like Australia. So, yeah, I'm now got a full vision of what it's like to live in a livelihood which you could die in childbirth, you could die from malaria, you could die from, you could die very, very young from tuberculosis. You have many, 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 what Australians would say is risks. What are the risks? What are the challenges? This is life, man. We are living, you are dying. You are protecting yourself so much that you are almost engulfed. I've been 24 years away from you, just coming back as a visitor with a return ticket. And believe me, each time I come, I see more and more from you, which is protection. Am I more comfortable? What shall I do about another, this sort of toothpaste? Is there an advantage in another toothpaste? I mean, really, the one time I was really struck, I came home the first time, my sister picked me up from the airport, rushed back to her house, she cooked a beautiful meal, but she forgot to buy the bread. So I said, look, when we drove in, I saw the shop. I'll go and buy the bread, you look after the oven and what you're doing. So I rushed off to buy the bread, and then stood there. What bread, I said. What bread? And rushed back to the house and said, what do you want? And she said, I didn't. And so, I mean, this is it. Bread for us is bread, milk is milk, and the rest is the rest. We live like this because the land is ecologically largely desert. They preserve it by the ecological understanding that you must move. You must move up to 5 and 6 times a year to make sure that the pasture does not disappear, that the water holes are protected. They have a complete system and a complete governance of the environmental system. That is the whole family on the camel with the little girl who can't walk. The rest of the people who can walk are behind. And so the bed's on the side, they have one bed. And the sticks behind are for the frame of the house. Their livelihoods is camel and goats. And for the sake of this, I was drawn by my husband, who is, I could say, an activist. I say an activist in a passive way because he's not like me, he's very calm. So, poor Ismail. Yeah, we started an organisation with 34 other Afar. We started in 1994 at a time of a civil war when the Afar were about to be cleaned off the Horn of Africa by another group of people who were very well supported by the French. And the Afar told us that there will be much human suffering. Could I run an organisation? I said no. Ismail said I've agreed. So we walked into it. This is it now. 34 years, 34 people, and now in 2013 we're 1,500 people. That I never realised at the beginning we were going to get that far. But here we are looking at each and every aspect of how do Afar as pastoralists stay on planet Earth. How does their livelihood continue? And so we have education, health and income generation, every single component that could keep them going. Their landscape, and yes, our cars come in and made a mess of the picture. That is their true landscape, and they've constructed roads so that cars can come in. Those roads, of course, go away when it rains, but they construct them again. The most important thing for us is education. We started at 2% literacy. 2% literacy. Why were we 2% literacy? Literate rate. 2% literate rate was the fact that firstly the Ethiopian government had ignored the Afar, but secondly, as is still the case, the world doesn't need to bother with pastoralists. Like hunters and gatherers, which Aboriginal people mostly are, they are unnecessary for planet Earth. Planet Earth wants settled people, farmers, traders and the like. And so, yeah, we are still the only organisation for 1.5 million people running literacy. We started in 1996. We now have taught, big deal, around about 130,000 people to read and write. Of them, 43% are female at this point. We started with 16% females. We're struggling on, but not with government assistance, not with another NGO coming alongside us and saying, yes, we'll do it. They say, oh, what a good job you're doing. Continue. But how? Huh? We set up a school, we set up, this is a school under a tree. These children these girls want to be midwives. They want to be doctors. We've got one Afar doctor now, and he did start like this, under a tree. And now he's come to me and asked to get further study to be an obstetrician. Very nice. But yeah, we don't have a single support from another NGO, let alone a UN organisation or the government, to teach people the very thing that will empower them to take control of their agenda and run their development life. We do not have that. And so schools under trees, it looks like this. We have nearly 300 of these types of schools. And yeah, mother teaches daughter, father teaches children. And so it goes on. And we learn in a totally unconventional way because we have to. But then the other day, DFID, the British government organisation, came in through Save the Children and said, listen here, we know why you've got no poor female attendance in schools. We need to set up girls' clubs like we have in Britain. I said, no way, you must be mad, because the Afar people are so organised through a thing called FEMA, which is peer group. And so every person in the society belongs to another, connected by the age group. They said, no, we'll reorganise this, restructure this, and then you'll get good participation. So now with their millions of British pounds, they're about to do that. They've started a month ago. Why for Millennium Development Goal number 2? Thank you very much to DFID. So yeah, the answers are coming from outside. We teach by solar lights, we struggle on, we see what we can do to work through, to get the Afar pastoralists, to get education in as part of the system. And yeah, we're getting there slowly. Here we are, one of our champion girls. Now she is an agent of change. She was normally with her goats. She learnt literacy, she became a woman extension worker, and now she has the ability to help the household when diarrhea hits. She can help the household through the pregnancy and get the mother to eat the right food. She can do these multiple tasks of saving life through awareness, through demonstration, by living with her own community, by changing with her own community. So the change is coming from the people living inside the community. She's so eager to make change because she's suffered herself. She had female genital mutilation. She was forced to marry at a young age. She never knew her husband until he came along on marriage day. Yeah, and she has no chance in her world to get a divorce if she wants it. She has all her rights cut off, so she wants to be part of getting it, and she's doing it. We have 280 women who do this. And again, the model is with us, not with the government. And as our organisation asks the government to take the model, the government says they're not qualified. What level of education? Where did she go to school? Where's the certificate? Well, she didn't go to school. She's using a mobile phone to talk to me, to talk to somebody in the organisation, to talk about a woman in dangerous position of delivering a baby, perhaps. We give her a solar torch so she can charge a mobile phone, and we're happy with that. You may be a bit, oh, she's jumped into modernity, she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. But actually, she's using it quite well, quite efficiently, to improve the life of her people. The leaders of the community are the men. The leaders of the community are the clan elders and the religious leaders, and they make the changes. They look after they are the moral custodians, and so any changes that need to be made to come from 2% literacy to running a system which can connect with the rest of the world, these decisions will be in the hand of a gentleman like this, who's sitting with his favourite niece, his daughter, or whoever, learning, listening, and discussing. The community itself is in extraordinary vulnerability. This little girl has got to go at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10 into work in the house. She's going to collect water, she's going to grind grain, she's going to work hard to make sure food and water gets to the house every day. Paternalistic society, totally. So, yeah, she's going to carry 20 kilos up to 8 hours on her back, or even longer, to carry the water home. And she doesn't get a chance to get education unless we give her solar lights at night, probably. So we're worried about her. There's a lot more to be done to get there. But we are really this is the rainwater harvesting. We are heading for trouble. Now I'm going to show you our connection with your world. This is an irrigation channel. Look at the nice plastic, isn't it gorgeous? Black plastic all the way down, and Afar houses on the rim. Behind the Afar houses is a thing called Prosopis juliifera, which was introduced as a reforestation tree from Bolivia in South America. This thing went crazy. I think you got it in Northern Territory. Anyway, it forms such a thick thicket, is that all right? Yeah, I think I've done it. Thick thicket, and actually it's unpenetrable. So it takes over tens of thousands of hectares of grazing land. No animal can get in, no goat, no camel can get in to graze. Our lions, our hyenas, and our leopards live in the thicket and jump out. Okay, and basically this damn thing cannot be got rid of. It can't be burnt, it can't be pulled up by the roots. It's just literally taken over riverside land. Whatever was left of the land was bulldozed out for sugarcane. For sugarcane for who? We have, through an Indian company, who we had to pay back because we took a soft loan, a short-term loan according to the $165 million to start the company from the Indians. The sugar is being sold to the Americans for ethanol fuel. 60,000 hectares of land are on the far end of our only functioning river have gone. And this started in 2009. Okay. And it's as ugly as this. There they are with the herd at the bottom. There's that ugly thing called a bulldozer dragging out all the good land, and the camels don't know where to go at the top. They've got to move on. Where do we move in time of drought? Climate change brings us more and more drought. We've got less land to graze. We've got less land to live on. Today, Afar has 40% of the herd they had 10 years ago. Since 2008, we've had hunger that I never ever saw before. When I first went to Afar, people would throw 3 litres of milk just as a joke, one at the other, just 2 boys having a fight, having a game. Too much milk, just throw it away. Now they're scraping to find the milk for a cup of tea. So it's a crazy situation. At one point, the world is saying, Millennium Development Goal number 1, we will reduce hunger by 50%. On the other side, they've increased it. I finish with a small quote I picked up in Melbourne. I'm in a conference in Melbourne University, and I'm sitting beside an Ethiopian who works for AusAid. Woman across the table says, and she's a very, very expensive woman with all the pearls and whatever, and she leans across the table, looks at me, and looks at this Ethiopian. She says to me, when will baby Africa stop crying? And she said, one day hungry, one day thirsty, one day sick, and then tramping around the place like a refugee. What's wrong with baby Africa? And the man looked across and he said, perhaps I can answer you, my dear. I work for AusAid. I've worked there for 15 years, and they put me on the Africa desk. And he quoted how much the Australian government gives to the continent of Africa in millions every year. He said, there's always a flip side to a coin. He said, perhaps you don't know, 134 mining companies, Australian mining companies, are in the continent of Africa, and each year one company will bring back a couple of billion. They pull back in their billions, they give in their millions. So we all know that you are the converted, but how do we talk to the Australian mass as a whole? The talking has got to get real. We cannot continue. In 2 years, we've had 5 mining companies come to the Afar region. Norway, Sweden, India, Canada, the fifth nationality, I'm not sure. Oh, United States, believe it or not. Blackwater Company, the company who did the security in the Iraq war. They've just arrived. So we're in good luck session. We are really fighting it. We're on the cutting edge. Afar will become extinct. Do we care? But there are others that are going to become extinct. We have to jump out of complacency today. We have to face the reality on the ground, and we have to really seriously partner with people, seriously dialogue with them, but dialogue with the people on the ground, please. Not with the middleman, the government, who is playing hootsie-tootsie with the people who are trying to do the war on terror through the American system. I really ask you that. Thank you.